Good, happy Monday morning, July 12th, 2021. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Monday morning edition of The Morning Show with Riley King. It's time to rise and shine and get this Monday off to a good start. So sit back, relax, grab that good cup of coffee, and enjoy this Monday morning edition of The Morning Show with Riley King, where we have a little bit of everything for you in this program. So let's get started and begin. First up, Haiti experiences food shortages, and growing turmoil. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Enjoy presentations with Canva.
Haiti, the country reeling after the assassination of its president, desperate, seeing shortages of food and fuel, people lining up when they hear about a station with gas, using any kind of container they can find to haul it away. ABC's Marcus Moore is in Port-au-Prince for us again tonight.
Tonight, the FBI and Department of Homeland Security are sending agents to Haiti to help investigate the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse. Authorities have arrested at least 20 people, including 2 Americans. According to the acting Prime Minister, Claude Joseph, 28 foreign mercenaries carried out the attack. 19 of them are from Colombia.
My only and ultimate goal is to give justice to President Jovenel Moïse.
Since Wednesday's attack, the city of Port-au-Prince has wrestled with returning to normal. But normal has long been a struggle here. Desperate scenes like this one have become increasingly common as the country faces economic turmoil.
Haiti has been in the midst of a gas shortage, and it leads to scenes like this, people lining up for fuel because the opportunity to get gas is spontaneous.
Solis is a father of 2. He tells me you have to fight to find gas. Helen John was on her way home from church when she saw this station was selling fuel, so she stopped to fill up her 2 gas cans. And she says she was hurt by the news of the assassination.
This was only something you read about in the history books, but now you all are living this.
She says this is something she could have never imagined.
Lindsay, we are told the U.S. teams that are on the ground right now assessing the interim government's request have met with the Prime Minister, and they will brief President Biden once they get back to the U.S. as the investigation into this brazen attack continues. Lindsay.
Marcus, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Arsenal of weapons, ammunition seized from a hotel. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
To Denver now, where authorities have seized an arsenal of weapons and ammunition from 2 hotel rooms not far from Coors Field, the site of this week's Major League Baseball All-Star events. A hotel housekeeper sounding the alarm. 4 people are now under arrest. ABC's Kaner Whitworth is in Denver with the latest on the investigation.
Tonight, police in Denver praising a quick-thinking hotel staff after discovering more than a dozen long guns, body armor, more than 1,000 rounds of ammo, and narcotics in a downtown hotel near Coors Field, where the Major League All-Star Baseball game is set to be held later this week.
The hotel staff is well-trained, and they stepped up in a big way.
A housekeeper at the Maven Hotel spotting a rifle while cleaning the room Friday night. Hotel security immediately alerting authorities, who arrested 3 men and a woman in rooms on the 4th and 8th floors. Guests finding themselves in the middle of chaos, grateful for the quick action of staff and authorities.
Thank you to whoever reported what they saw, because they could have circumvented a catastrophe.
Just last week, authorities in Chicago foiled an alleged 4th of July shooting plot from the 12th floor of a hotel, again crediting a housekeeper. Investigators in Denver tonight saying they believe the suspects were involved with illegal arms and drug sales. The FBI telling ABC News, "We have no reason to believe this incident was connected to terrorism or a threat directed at the All-Star game."
We'll find out in the coming hours and days exactly how their planning went apart. But one mistake tripped them up, and thank God for it. But that frontline worker that made was on point and made the phone call.
Right, that employee following that old adage, if you see something, say something. Kata Whitworth joins us from right outside of that hotel in Denver. Kata, authorities say that there's no ongoing threat from this case, but this was certainly alarming with all the All-Star events set to get underway.
Absolutely, Lindsay. So this is still under investigation. The Denver police joining the FBI. They're meeting with Major League Baseball, and the FBI telling us that ahead of big events like this All-Star game, they always work closely with other agencies. But Lindsay, they continue to remind the public to remain vigilant.
That's right, Kana. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Richard Branson makes historic space flight. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
That history-making spaceflight, what's being called the dawn of a new space age. Billionaire Richard Branson, now the first person to reach the edge of space in his very own spacecraft. The mothership Eve carrying the Unity taking off at 8:40 a.m. local time. 45 minutes later, Unity separating and blasting off to the lower reaches of space more than 50 miles above the Earth. Then 4 minutes of weightlessness, the 6 astronauts floating freely, the realization of Branson's dreams. The billionaire celebrating on the ground, calling the whole thing magical. ABC transportation correspondent Gio Benitez spoke to Branson just moments ago and leads us off from the New Mexico desert.
3, 2, 1, release.
Tonight, a moment 17 years in the making.
Ignition. Good rocket motor burn.
Richard Branson, more than 50 miles above the Earth's surface, weightless, becoming the first person to fly to space aboard his own spaceship. At 8:40 this morning, the mothership Eve carrying Virgin Galactic's spaceship Unity to about 50,000 feet, dropping it. The heart-stopping moment Unity's rocket ignites, blasting Branson and 5 others to the edge of space, giving them 4 minutes of weightlessness.
To the next generation of dreamers, if we can do this, just imagine what you can do.
The crew safely touching back to Earth, the whole thing less than 60 minutes. The nearly 71-year-old Branson beating Amazon founder Jeff Bezos to space by just 9 days. Now tonight, just hours after their historic flight, Branson and fellow astronaut Sarisha Bandla speaking with us.
Everything I've dreamt about since I was a kid came true and more today. And excuse us.
Yes, you got those wings.
I have to say the messages from India, and especially of young women that didn't even see that this was an opportunity that they could chase, has been incredible.
Joining the celebration, SpaceX founder Elon Musk coming to New Mexico to wish his friend well.
It was great this morning to find Elon in my kitchen at 3 o'clock.
Meanwhile, Virgin Galactic now launching a sweepstakes to win 2 seats on a future flight, hoping to open up space for all.
As a kid myself, when I saw the moon landing, I was, making rockets out of cardboard boxes, and I was, making them big enough so I could get into my rocket, and dreamt of building a rocket to go to space one day. And yeah, that's what we done.
Yeah. And Lindsay, Virgin Galactic has 2 test flights left this year. They intend to start flying customers to space next year at $250,000 a pop. Lindsay?
$250,000 for the ride of a lifetime, Gio. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Very cool indeed. History in the making. And let's switch gears now and let's take a look at the weather across the United States for all of you right now. And here is a look at the weather across the United States for all of you right now. As you can see, we got rain along the East Coast around Boston, Albany, New Hampshire. And then it's dry as you make your way down the East Coast towards Florida. And then over here around Dallas and New Orleans and There's some rain there and a few rain over here in the Mexico area, and then mainly dry along this side of the United States. And that is a look at the weather across the United States for all of you for this Monday. And let's switch gears now. CDC suggests unvaccinated kids and staff should still wear masks. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Movie night.
Should have been watching this film instead.
Tell me something I don't know.
With your Farmers Policy for guaranteed replacement cost, your home can be rebuilt regardless of your limits.
That's really something.
Get a whole lot of something with Farmers Policy Perks.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Former CDC Director Dr. Tom Frieden. Dr. Frieden, good morning to you. It's good to have you. So let's jump right in here. First, let's discuss the CDC's new recommendations on schools. Among them, that unvaccinated kids and staff should still wear a mask, including kids 12 years and younger who are not yet eligible for a vaccine. Is this the right approach, and is there enough clarity for parents and schools here?
The guidelines are a really important step because they emphasize that in-person learning is extremely important and it can be done even despite the increasing Delta variant. But it has to be done with layers of protection. That's how we keep schools open. That's how we can keep our kids learning this fall, even if, as is likely, we see some pretty substantial increases with the Delta variant, particularly in communities that don't have a lot of vaccination going on. And that's the bottom line. Keep schools open and do it in ways that are going to be safe for staff, safe for students, and important for the community, because keeping the schools open isn't just about our kids. It's about everyone being able to get back to a more normal sense of life. And vaccination is our main route to that. For the schools where you have kids under 12 who can't be vaccinated, of course they should be wearing masks, particularly in areas that are having a lot of transmission, because otherwise you can have a lot of spread. You can have spread to staff, to students. You can have some severe illness, some long-lasting effects, some the inflammatory syndrome. So masks are an important way of moving forward, particularly in areas where there's lots of transmission.
I do want to ask an important point, though, here is the CDC is urging schools to reopen even if they can't implement all these recommendations. None of this is mandatory. So what's your message to parents and teachers who still might be concerned about this?
I think it's a really important point because what we have to do is have layers of protection. But with a lot of transmission, you can still keep schools open. What you need to do is mask, open the windows, provide some distance, do the best you can. And if there are kids who have underlying health conditions or staff who have an individualized assessment who have underlying health conditions, then maybe they need to be protected more. You also need to prepare for the possibility that there will be cases in the schools, but we don't shut schools for other infectious diseases, and we can keep them open despite high levels of COVID in most communities if you use that multi-layer protection system, because keeping schools open is so very important, and masks are an important part of that.
Now, you touched on this a moment ago. Daily case rates are up 16% nationwide. Some states obviously getting it worse than others, and some health experts are blaming the spread of the Delta variant and the drop-off in vaccination rates. How worried are you about this trend?
I think it is going to cause problems. We will see increases in case rates in the U.S., fairly substantial increases, especially in places that don't have high vaccination rates. And tragically, we'll see increased hospitalization and increased deaths following those increased case rates weeks later. And I predict that we will still see this occurring almost entirely in people who have not been fully vaccinated. Getting fully vaccinated protects you against the Delta variant, protects you against death and severe illness and the long-lasting effects of COVID that are affecting so many people around the country and around the world. So vaccination is our way to freedom from this pandemic. But while the pandemic is going on, it's still possible to keep our kids in school, in person, learning, and it's enormously important to do so. Masking is a key part of that. And the fact is that the masking is going to be easier to do if it's universal in most settings, but the CDC guidelines really leave that up to individual schools and school districts.
All right, Dr. Frieden, thank you so much for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Well, hey there, GMA fans.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And we are going to switch gears now, and let's go into some entertainment news. In entertainment news, Nick Cannon says it's no accident that he's fathered 4 children with 3 women in less than a year. Let's take a listen to that video from Entertainment Tonight.
Big Pharma banked record profits as Americans battled the pandemic. And despite receiving...
Nick Cannon, you got
So you're having my day. I'm having these kids on purpose. Trust me, that's a lot of people I could have got pregnant that I didn't.
Okay. That's Nick on his Power 106 LA radio show, breaking his on-camera silence about having 4 kids with 3 different women in 6 months.
Sometimes I have a little bit too much fun in my life. It gets me into a lot of trouble. You only live once. My kids call me a player. I was like, who taught you that word?
The 40-year-old's always been open with E.T. about his love life. Nick welcomed his 7th child, Zen, with Wild 'N Out model Alyssa Scott last month. That's less than 10 days after having twins, Zion and Zillion, with radio personality Abby De La Rosa. In December, Cannon had his 2nd kid with ex-Brittany Bell. He also shares twins, Moroccan and Monroe, with Mariah Carey.
You know, man, family is a #1 priority. Everything I do is calculated. God said, be fruitful and multiply. I'm doing the Lord's work out here.
The Masked Singer host, who is deeply religious, has said he believes fatherhood is what he was put on this earth to do. Nick also told Howard Stern in 2017 his outlook changed after developing complications battling lupus.
I'm probably gonna die sooner than most people, and because that's what the doctor said. But I'm living life like I might die in the morning. All night. Why wear condoms? I might not be here tomorrow.
He now says he was joking about not using contraception, and his health is okay.
Everything that I do, you may not agree with, but at least you can say I was real and I was true and I was honest.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this Monday morning edition of The Morning Show with Riley King. Thank you for watching and have a great Monday, everyone. See you back here later on today with more news coverage. Goodbye.